Hello and welcome to another episode of What Travis Says. My name is Travis and let's talk about Doctor Who. More specifically, Season 11, Episode 5, The Tsuranga Conundrum. So we're already finished with Episode 5 of 10 episodes. It's kind of hard to believe that we are halfway through Jodie Whittaker's first season as the Doctor. Is there a larger arc? Is there someone pulling the strings? Who is the timeless child? I'm pretty sure it goes without saying, but if you've not yet watched Episode 5, The Tsuranga Conundrum, do not watch this video any farther because there will be spoilers. So Team TARDIS accidentally comes across a sonic mine on a junk planet. Oopsie. They are then picked up by a medical ship which automatically sets course for the nearest medical location. The Doctor tries to escape because she just wants to make it back to the TARDIS, but before too long, they are all just trying to survive. And yet again, we're getting a monster of the week villain with the Pating. The Pating cannot die. They cannot be contained. They cannot be stopped. They will eat anything and everything in their path. Now, that sounds terrifying until you see the little thing. It's just, well, it looks cute, which doesn't do it any favors in the whole terrifying category. I mean, the tiny adorableness makes it nearly impossible to see it as an evil antagonist. You just know right away that there's going to be some sort of explanation about how it's just living its own best life, going around eating things, not really worrying about killing people. It's just doing its thing. So we find out that the little Pating creature wants something, just like everything wants something, and the Pating just wants energy. The little Stitch characters just running around eating energy. But in doing so, the Pating is actually eating the ship, tearing it apart to feed its hunger, and that is where the danger is. And in the end of the episode, the creature is blown up on the inside with an explosive and then blown out of an airlock. Not that it would die, it's just gonna feast on that explosion for a little while. So yeah, it was pretty much a misunderstood monster of the week, but while the ship was being torn apart, there were some side stories that were pretty interesting. There was some nice banter in this episode, some comedy intermixed with the drama, and everyone involved with the acting gets you to invest in their characters. Estes was a bad liar, but even though he only had about 10 minutes of screen time, his death was very impactful. Like, he was a great addition to the episode right away, and I felt myself thinking, you know what, he's probably gonna die at the end of the episode. Nope. 15 minutes in, he's gone already. Side note, it's nice to see that Chibnall isn't afraid to kill off characters because it definitely adds some weight to the episodes. The General Cicero is afraid to show weakness even to her own brother. She just keeps so much stuff under wraps because she's afraid of what people would think. But ultimately, Cicero and her engineer brother Dirkus safely get the ship to where it needs to be. Their arc was nice, complete, they both got closure, she died in an honorable way. And yes, we're gonna talk about the pregnant bloke, but why are some people saying that this is a diversity thing? Because the guy was literally a futuristic alien. At first, when Yoss showed up and he showed that he was pregnant, I was along there with Team TARDIS with the, oh, that was unexpected. Okay, he's pregnant. Okay. And I thought that that would be it, but instead of being a gag about men having babies, it ended up being a lot more than that. As the episode went on, we realized that Yoss didn't see himself fit to be a father, and he wanted to give his child a chance at a better life without him. But hearing these insecurities coming from a male who was about to have a kid sort of helped Ryan realize that these are thoughts that his own father might have had. However, because of that, Ryan was able to talk to Yoss about how maybe keeping the kid in his life would be the best option for both of them. To be honest, I don't believe that the story would have worked nearly as well with a female pregnancy. It had to be coming from a guy for Ryan to be able to make those parallels between thoughts that his own father might have had. And he tells Yoss, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be there. And to me, that was the second most relevant part of the episode with building and establishing these characters. And that was the second most relevant part because I can confidently say that in this episode, Jodie Whittaker is definitely coming into her own as the Doctor. She's kind of been all over the place, but in a fun way, sort of mirroring Tennant and Smith with her mannerisms and her tone. But about 7 minutes into this episode, the Doctor has her "we'll see about privileges" line and she raises her sonic. At that moment, the Doctor did not realize that she was being hostile, that she was threatening everyone on board with a remote detonation, that she was hijacking a medical craft. She was being selfish in that moment. She was preventing everyone on board from reaching Rhesus 1 where they needed medical treatment. And she was just gonna turn the ship around. The Doctor would have been directly threatening the people on board. And then she realized. After waking up disoriented, wanting to leave the medical building, realizing that it was a ship, wanting to turn the ship around, she thought about what she was doing. It was then that the Doctor was able to relax a little bit more and be able to look at these problems and think confidently about what the answers would be. She made that comment about the Book of Celebrants, but then later had to say just how big of a contribution she was. It was kind of a sheepish, "ah." But actually, last week she was trying to take control of an Arachnids hotel. This week she tried to take control of a ship and then realized that it's probably best if she just steps back a little bit and even leaves the people in charge. Kinda. It could have been a little more white knuckle if the enemy would have been a little more scary or terrifying instead of this cute little blob creature that was just eating everything in sight. But it made up for a lack of terror with heart and character development. But just what did Astis see when he was looking at the Doctor's medical records? It couldn't just be because she wasn't human, right? Because they seem well aware that there are aliens out there. And it couldn't just be because she had 2 hearts, or else that would have been commented on, but it wasn't. Astis was so unnerved after looking at the Doctor's medical records that when she brought it up later, he just said that everything was fine and she called him a bad liar. That was the beginning of the whole bad liar thing. If it was just because of the binary heart, why not just say that? Is there going to be something more down the line that this has to do with? Because the episode is making a big deal about mentioning this one thing and then leaving it alone. So is that another plot thread that is going to be followed later? I hope, because if they're just doing this and then just leaving it, why? Oh, also I spent Saturday rewatching episodes 1 through 4, and then Sunday I watched episode 5 just to try to get a sense of what the similarities are between these episodes, and I think I might have found something, and watching episode 5 sort of solidified my theory, but I wanted to get this video out before talking about that, because that video is going to be a future video, that future topic of a thing, and now my mind is going crazy because I don't know what it means. But we're going to talk about it soon. Here's a little bit of a hint. It has to do with a body count, but more like a lack thereof, kind of. I'll explain soon. In the comments down below, let me know your thoughts on the Tsuranga Conundrum. I feel like the villain enemy creature could have been a little more scary because it being cute sort of took away from the terror of floating through space in a ship that was being eaten. I feel like if it was more scary, then it would have been a little more white-knuckled. But, you know, character development and all that, it was a solid-ish episode to me. It wasn't amazing. There have definitely been episodes that are better, in my opinion, in this season, but it wasn't awful. So in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts. And as always, my name is Travis. Thank you for listening to what I have to say, and you will see me soon.